ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Mikey's Saturday Nightmares. Thank you. All right, now, thank you so much for tuning in with me this evening. Appreciate you guys watching the videos from my past videos. Uh, if you haven't watched the video from yesterday, the classic movie buffet theater for the Bone Collector, go back and check that out once you get done watching this one. So, on today's episode of Mikey's Saturday Nightmares, we're going to discuss a classic from 1980 or 81, I believe. I think it's 81. And it is a movie that has a little bit of turmoil mixed up in it as far as production value, not production value, but as far as the production of the film. There were some ins and outs going on in it. And it had two different directors. One was uncredited. So he was brought in later on after the film was finished. And they brought him in later on, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But this film is from 1981. It's a Roger Corman classic called Humanoids from the Deep. And it was directed by a Barbara Peters, who also did such films as Summer School Teachers, Star Hops, and Bury Me an Angel. Now, I have seen none of those. None of those have been on my watch list, although, Summer School Teachers kind of sounds like a comedy, so I may check that out. I like a comedy every once in a while. I have no idea what in the world Star Hops is or Bury Me an Angel, but anyways. So she directed the film. And then the uncredited director was a guy by the name of Jimmy T. Murakami. And he directed such films as Battle Beyond the Stars. He did a segment in the film Heavy Metal called Soft Landing. And he did a film called When the Wind Blows. Now, I have not seen When the Wind Blows, but I have seen Battle Beyond the Stars and Heavy Metal. Battle Beyond the Stars was kind of a Star Trek type movie. Or not Star Trek. Well, yeah, kind of like Star Trek. Maybe a little bit of The Last Starfighter kind of thrown in there. It was a decent film. And, of course, Heavy Metal is classic. It's a classic heavy metal animated film with John Candy's voices in it. There's several big name actors that voiced that in that film, and it was great. It was for an animated movie from back in the '80s. It was a classic. It's become a classic. The film Humanoids from the Deep stars Doug McClure, who plays Jim Heel in the film, and he also played in the film The Land That Time Forgot. And he also plays in The People That Time Forgot. And he played in a film called Warlords of the Deep. Now, I have not seen Warlords of the Deep, I do not believe. But I have seen The Land and The People That Time Forgot. I saw both those films. Those are Roger Corman classic dinosaur films. Those were cool. The movie also stars Anne Turkle, who played Dr. Susan Drake, and she also played in a movie called The Fear. Now, this movie, The Fear, was in 1995, and I have seen it. I enjoyed that film. A lot of people didn't like it, but I did. She also played in a film called Deep Space in 1988, which I have no clue. I don't think I've ever seen that. And she also played in Deja Vu in 2006. Now, that's the one with Denzel Washington. Now, I have seen that, and she has just a small part in that film. So, she's kind of like there and gone. But she did get credit for playing in that film, and that is an excellent Denzel Washington film, much like The Bone Collector from yesterday's video. This film also stars a Vic Moreau, who plays Hank Slattery. Now, Vic Moreau was a fantastic actor who has an illustrious career. My stepfather, God rest his soul, was a huge Vic Morrow fan. He watched just about anything the man played in, especially when it came into like the older films and westerns and things like that he played in. My stepdad was a big fan, big fan. And Vic Morrow also played in such films as Twilight Zone the movie, Bad News Bears from 1976. That's the one with Walter Matthau. And he also played in the Jaws ripoff, The Last Shark. Now, Bad News Bears is a classic film, a classic baseball film from with Walter Matthau. It's fantastic. If you haven't watched that, you need to go back and watch that one. The Last Shark, that is so, it's such a bad movie. I mean, he played in it. I mean, you gotta have work. That's basically what that is. But it is such a Jaws ripoff. It is unreal. It is unreal. And if you don't believe me, you can actually find it on Tubi, and you can watch it on there and find out for yourself what kind of movie that is. Okay, but anyways, the plot for this film is humanoid sea creatures start killing a fishing town's residents and raping their women. The townfolk join forces with a visiting biologist to fight back and fend them off. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the trailer for Roger Corman's classic Humanoids from the Deep. Here we go.
Humanoids from the deep. They began in the water. They're not human, but they hunt human women. Not for killing, for mating.
Why the girls?
It's my theory that these creatures are driven to mate with man now in order to further develop their incredible evolution.
Humanoids from the deep. Anywhere you run, any place you hide, any time you stop, they will find you. Humanoids from the deep.
All right, there was the trailer for Humanoids from the Deep, starring Doug McClure and Vic Morrow. Some notes on the film. As the film was being finished up, Roger Corman was the producer for the film, felt the movie needed more sex, nudity, and monster shots. So he ordered scenes shot that showed the monsters attacking and ripping the clothes off of the women. Barbara Peters, who was the original director for the film, was a feminist and hated the idea and refused to shoot the scenes. So Corman hired Murakami, I think is how you say his name. Yeah, Murakami. So Corman hired Murakami to shoot those scenes to add them into the film. To add those new shots, many of the scenes that showed that were plot oriented and character developmental pieces were removed or edited out of the film to make room for the new scenes. After those scenes were done and added to the film, Peters wanted her name taken off of the film. She wanted nothing to do with it. And Corman told her that she would have to pay to have the credits of the film redone to take her name off. And she refused to do so, so her name stayed attached to the film. There were only 3 creatures seen on screen at the same time. Production only had 1 fully functional creature. And the other 2 they didn't look as good. They weren't fully functional. So they had to shoot the other 2 creatures from certain angles. So you couldn't really tell the difference in the way they were made. So dealing with practical effects, in that time period, you kind of had to finagle things and work camera angles around to where it suited, the best. A made for TV remake was done in '96. Now, I'm not familiar with that one. I may have seen it, but it's been so long ago, I don't remember. Um, but it was done in '96, and some of the scenes from the Salmon Festival at the end of the original film were used, was the footage was reused in the reboot. Um, and the finale of the film, uh, at the festival, was fantastically shot. I thought it was great the way they shot it. They had aerial views. They showed the creatures just totally just ramsacking this festival, killing people, grabbing the girls, attacking the women. I mean, it was fantastically shot. It was just total chaos. The way they done it, it was fantastic. So this is a great, well done, never a dull moment thriller, in my opinion, for the time period. And, considering it is a Roger Corman film, um, they are kind of low budget type films. But he did a lot of like monster movies and dinosaur films and that kind of thing. He's known for that kind of stuff. Um, the tension, suspense, and excitement starts almost from the first scene and never lets up. It's Roger Corman at his best. One may find the film cheesy and absurd, but that's the whole point of a Roger Corman film. All his films were kind of cheesy and absurd, but they were fantastic. They were fantastic nonetheless. It has a tight script and a great cinematic humanoid attack scene against the fishing pier at the end of the film at the Salmon Festival. Uh, it was a great film. If you like sea monster, low budget sea monster classic films like this, Roger Corman was top tier in that genre of film. Um, I enjoyed a lot of his films, even though they were so low, low budget, so absurd and so campy. I enjoyed those films so very much. Um, and to this day, I still enjoy the kind of campy, low budget, some of them, monster films. Um, even though it's kind of become a lost art, in my opinion. And I think that has a lot to do with um, the CGI effects that they use in some of the films now. In order to make such a campy film, it you can't use CGI and make a campy film. I don't. I mean, they go overboard with it. I understand that it's the way things are now. It's not. It's easier to do it that way, and it seems like it would cost more money to do it that way than it would to just do a practical effect. But some people still use practical effects, and there's nothing wrong with practical effects. There's nothing wrong with CGI. It's just too much of it just ruins a whole film, I think, in my opinion. And I hope I'm not the only one out there that feels that way. But these Roger Corman films were fantastic. If you like that campy kind of film, I mean, there was so many of them that he had done. I mean, there was this one. There was, The Land and the Time That People Forgot. There was, the Carnosaur films. There was like three or four of those that Roger Corman was involved with. I mean, there was so much stuff that he did back in the day, and a lot of it, and it was all in this same genre, this absurd, campy type films. Um, and I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. A lot of people don't, but I do, and that's why there's such a thing as a cult classic. Like heavy metal is a cult classic. There's films now that are out now that are considered cult classics. I mean, look at films like Bubba Hotep with oh my gosh, I cannot remember his name. But anyways, the Evil Dead, movies like the Evil Dead, Bubba Hotep. I mean, there's millions and millions of these films that are campy goodness and fun. Uh, So, you know, this one absolutely deserves a watch. If you've never seen it before, give it a shot on a day when there's nothing else on TV. You don't have anything else to do, and just sit down and watch it. And I guarantee you, you'll find something about the film that you like. Uh, I always did like a good old monster movie. I mean, there's a ton of monster movies out there, a ton. Some of my favorite campy monster films were some of the Sci-Fi Pictures original films that come out. They used to come out back in the day, like Basilisk, the Serpent King was one. There was Sea Beast, uh, Frankenfish. I mean, just these weird, title movies like Anaconda versus Lake Placid is one of those campy films. Sharknado. Those movies were fantastic in my opinion because they are just so funny and so outlandish. But I think Roger Corman kind of paved the way for that kind of film, that genre of film, and I thoroughly enjoy him. I really do. So if you haven't seen this film, definitely give it a watch if you have the time to sit down and watch it. You may not like it, but I find it rather enjoyable. I do watch it from time to time, even now. So definitely give that one a watch. And with that being said, we're going to end the video here. Now there will not be a Supernatural Sunday. Maybe next week I might be able to get back into it, but right now it's not feasible. I do want to get back into it because I love the show and I love discussing the show. But there will be a Mikey's Movie Rampage on Tuesday. Tuesday will be Mikey's Movie Rampage. And then instead of having the Classic Movie Buffet Theater on Friday, I believe I'm going to try to shoot for Thursday. I will definitely let you know if it has to be moved to Friday. But for right now, we're going to do the Movie Rampage on Tuesday, and the Classic Movie Buffet Theater will be on Thursday. So, all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do check this movie out. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the film if you've already seen it. If you watched the film, shoot me a comment and let me know what you thought after you watched it. We'll discuss it. I don't have any problem with it at all. We'll talk all you want. So until the next video, which like I said will be on Tuesday, I will see you guys